Heavenly Father, thank you because we've come back again, and we thank you because you will speak to us. Thank you for helping us at everything we've done here today. Thank you for making us hearers of the word and not hearers but doers, oh God. I ask your help, Holy Spirit, to present everything accurately in Jesus' name. Amen. I want you to thank all my friends that have spoken here today. Some of them have been my friends for 40 years, 20 years. Thank you. I salute you. Jeremy, you know I love you. Jeremy is like my brother. We don't have the same mom, but he's like my brother. I'm really close to him. Sometimes before you get married, you need to be closer to the people that have been married or people that are married. Some of us, our best friends are people like us that are looking and have looked for a couple of years. There's nothing wrong with it, but you need to have people that have been married. They are more than likely to be the one that will recommend you to somebody to be married to. Praise God. My time is not, very long, so I'm going to keep it brief. If you can, I want you to wait for our prayer session at 5 o'clock. The reason is, my friend Pastor Agatha is here. I believe God has anointed her to teach people how to pray. The only request that is really recorded that the disciples really asked of Jesus is, Lord, teach us to pray. Which means, if they need to be taught, then prayer needs to be learned. And the more you learn how to pray, the more you pray better. And there is precision and accuracy in prayer. You can pray accurately, spot on. Dupsy said something, you don't have to believe God for 14 years. The day I woke up and realized that was the day my miracle started manifesting. I'll give you a bit of history. I was born again when I was 15 years old. And when I got being born again was not fashionable. So when you're born again, you lose your earrings, you lose your jewelry, you lose your makeup, your wig, So I remember getting home and telling my dad, I'm now a Christian. They used to call them SU. And my dad said to me, I don't mind as long as you still excel in your academics. Because I think what was prevalent at that time was people got born again and then let their academics sleep. I went through university, saved, loved God. I had what you call I was very fervent, like you said. I was really fervent for God. I mean, Dupsy knew me in university. Dupsy wasn't born again in her first year. By the second year, she got born again. We became friends again, even though we went to secondary school together. I was tenacious in my Christianity. But how many of you know that you can be a good Christian, you can be an evangelist, you can even be a pastor, and you can be without? The gifts or the provisions of God have to be appropriated. The fact that somebody has prophesied and said something was going to happen does not mean it happens automatically. You need to appropriate it, and you need to sometimes lay hold of it. That's why Paul said, lay hold on eternal life. Being married is the birthright of every Christian that wants to be married. It is your legitimate right. Why? Because the scripture says so. I'm not going to go through all those scriptures. It's in my book out there. It's 10 pounds. I'm not selling books. I just want you to get the information. Until you know that it is the will of God, it is very difficult for you to be able to fight for something. If you don't know it is your own, how many of you came from your house today? If I came into your house and I got your smart TV or your TV and I was walking out of the door with your TV, what would you do?
Stop you. Question
you, my dear. What do you think you're doing? That looks like my TV. When you know and you know and you know and you know that it is yours, it is very easy to fight for it. When you are not so sure whether it is maybe God is doing it, maybe God is not, then you're not very quick to pray. But when you are absolutely 100% sure that this is it, then you are fervent with the prayer. Look, there is nowhere in the scriptures that God, Jesus Christ told them to come back tomorrow. Show me. Where Jesus, anybody that met the Lord Jesus Christ, he said, come back tomorrow. Never. Not one. Even the people outside the covenant that came to him. The Syrophoenician woman was outside the covenant. She received. The nobleman's son was a centurion. He was Italian. Jesus Christ was sent to the Jews. At that time, the ministry had not gone on to the Gentiles. But they received because they knew what belonged to them. A lot of times, the enemy can mess about with you if you are not sure. If you are not convinced. If somebody can still talk you out of it, then you are not. I like what you said. If you know who you are and whose you are, it's very easy to get something from God. But if you are not sure, maybe not. Wait and come back tomorrow is not in the scriptures. Wait is not in the scriptures. The promises of God in 2 Corinthians 1:20, it says they are yes and amen. Yes, and so it is. So be it. The minute you start questioning, you are not sure, maybe not. You are not there. Just relax, go and get that first. When I got born again, like I said, I went through university. It was still easy then. I graduated at 21, happy-go-lucky. I wasn't really looking, you're still 21, you're still young. 25, nothing happened. I went on and did some more education, got some more qualifications, nothing happened. At 26, I had to relocate to the UK. I had a few tragedies in the family and had to come to the UK. I came here, under 2 years, I'd done a master's degree. Then my brother John, oh my goodness, that he used to suffer a lot. We were very good friends. He taught me Excel. He taught me a few things. And I am grateful to you. 29, I went to Canada. I was still without. Some of my friends have started getting married. They walked down the aisle. It's not a big deal. You're just 29. It will still happen. 30, I was in Canada. Everything was good. I got a fantastic job. Got a condo. The condo is a flat. I had a nice brand new car. Everything was working. No husband. But no big deal. You're only 30. 35, nothing happened. I still look 35, don't I? Nothing happened. Then I started, oh God, what is happening? I love God. I've always loved God. And I will love Him till I leave this earth. I love God not because of what He's done for me, but because of who He is. The material things are good, especially when it comes and it's coming. Every day I see it coming and I'm really grateful. But I love Him for Himself. He's just a good daddy. Amen? Amen. 40! Nothing happened. I relocated back at 36 years old. I came back to the UK. And I joined a good ministry. I loved the church I was going to. I was still fervent for God. I was working, doing what I know hobby. Being single is how can I say that word? When you're single, it's still acceptable at a certain age. When you begin to get to a certain age and you're still single, people begin to ask you, are you okay? Is everything okay? And if you're not even sure, like me at that time, I was like, God, what have I not done? What have I done? You start asking questions. What should I do? What should I do better? God is not your problem. If you're writing notes, write that down. Put it on your wall when you get home. God is not my problem. The minute you settle down in your heart that God is not my problem, you face the right enemy. Yeah? Because a lot of times we ask God, why, when, how, who, what did I do, what? And I knew how to cry. How many people know how to cry? PhD crying. You cry in the morning. And then especially at Christmas, just before the year ends, and people will start calling you on the phone and praying for you. It doesn't happen to anybody here. People used to call me on the phone, especially from my parents are Africans. They will call me on the phone and they pray. Oh, do you know this person's daughter got married, had 3 children. This person, nothing happened. 36, 37, 38, 30. Immediately I came to England, I got a good job. So I was kind of secure. On my 40th birthday, my brother is out there, he's going to come in a minute. He wanted to surprise me. I was praying and the Holy Spirit said to me, you need to do something drastic. If you need a change, you need to do something you've not done before. Somebody says insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So I decided. Somebody said, I decided. I was going to do. I started searching the scriptures afresh on this area of marriage. I went from Genesis. I see what God wrote in Genesis. I see how He helped people to get a spouse, Genesis 24. I went on to the book of, I went through the Old Testament. What did God have to say about marriage? I went through the New Testament. What did Jesus do about marriage? What did He do about marriage in Cana in Galilee? Jesus was very busy. He was only here for 3 years. For Him to stop over in a wedding, He means it must be important to God. What did Paul write about marriage? What is the New Testament perspective about marriage? Then I got ammunition. Somebody said ammunition. Sometimes you need to get some. Once I got that, I knew it was easy for God to move. 40, I started praying the scriptures. I prayed the scriptures every day. 41, nothing happened. I fast, and I'm going to recommend that some of you do. What fasting does is I put your body under, so your antenna is clear. You know, so God, what's the next step? So I started fasting. Sometimes I fast for 3 days. My mom she's gone to heaven now. We used to fast and pray together. Fasted for 3 days. After the 3-day fast, a brother will show up. After about 2 weeks, the brother will disappear. So I knew something was shifting, but it wasn't shifting enough. And that's what I'm telling a lot of you today. You can shift things. So I said, So I went 7 days. 7 days, within 1 month, 4 brothers showed up. So I knew that this was connected to something spiritually. You have to kind of link both together. 4 brothers showed up. Of course, you see, I'm not married to either all the 4. Out of all the 4. After a few weeks, nothing happened again. I was back to square one. By that time, I was 42. I still look 35, don't I? 42. I said, God, what do you want me to do now? Like you said, God is not your problem. A lot of times you have to stay behind and hear God. And that was the biggest. This situation changed my whole Christian experience. That's how I got my son. That's how we got to live in England. That's how every step we make it. This same thing I'm telling you. Jolani shared something at the match event. He shared about a recipe. Once you have a recipe and you master it, you can use it over and over and over and over again, and it delivers for you all the time. 42. No brother. So I said, I'm going to do what I've never done before. Fasting and praying is nothing to me. I decided I was going to fast for 21 days. I said, God, if this one doesn't show up, I will fast 40 days. Because you have given me. You are not withholding from me. I will fast and pray until this man shows up. I remember Christmas that year. My friend called me, my friend in Dubai, she called me. She said, Funmi, this year, God will do it. I said, God, what is God? God has done it. Stop putting the time on God. God, He has finished the work. He said it is finished. It is finished with shame, reproach. What will God gain by withholding your husband? Absolutely nothing. So, I went on and shut everything down. Like you said, I shut everybody out. Nobody, no phone, nothing. When I come back from work, it was a Daniel fast. I know there's a lot of dynamics to Daniel fast now. People eat. I didn't know that, so I only ate fruit and water. And you can see how skinny I am. I was skinnier than this. I went down to size 0. I said, every day when I come. Before I leave home every day, I didn't pray in my understanding. If you don't pray in tongues, it's fine. But this is for me. I prayed in tongues 1 hour in the morning. When I come back, before I, no phone, nothing. As soon as I step into my house, 7 to 9, I call it God time. God, I thank you because I praise him and I worshiped him and I danced. Then I moved into, because sometimes prayer is not just about speaking to God. Everything, we've cataloged everything. Prayer is God, God, God. No. Sometimes you speak to your situation. So I spoke to the mountain. I spoke in the spirit 2 hours. Sometimes more. I don't want to intimidate you. Cut long story short, 5 days after my prayer and fasting, I met my husband. And he's sat outside there now looking after her son. Sometimes, delay in marriage, I didn't say all the time, sometimes delay in marriage is spiritual. One of, I think it was John that read that scripture. There is a time and a season for everything under the sun. There is nowhere in the Bible that you read that anybody got married at 40 years old. Nobody, nowhere. The Bible talks about the wife of their youth. Anytime you see a delay in any area of your life, God's hand is not there. The enemy is at work. His modus operandi is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Prayer is one of the ways we respond to God. That's why you don't want to miss the 5 o'clock. We've made it optional because some people may think we're quite intense when we pray. But there are some things that will not change unless a human being decides to pray. When I mean pray, I mean praying the way you should pray. We're doing this conference in June in Yorkshire. I was speaking at a singles meeting and with my pastor. And she said we needed to pray for people. So people came out to be prayed for. And I laid hands on the woman. And as soon as I laid hands on her, the Holy Spirit, take your hands off. I took my hands off. He said, call your friend. I called it. Somebody was speaking, were quite a few speakers. So I called one of the speakers. I called her. I said, put your hand on that woman. She put her hand on. And I said, tell the woman what the Holy Spirit is telling you to tell her. This is when I began to be. God is big. The woman that I called was a pastor as well. Now spoke to this woman and said, there's an altar in your house. Spoke where her house was in Africa. We were ministering to this person together. Spoke where her house was. Spoke about the altar and said to her, 5 daughters, none of you are married. Sometimes some of these things are not natural. Especially some of us that come from, I thought it was only Africa until I started meeting people from Haiti and all these nations of the world. You know, thank God for conferences that are now multi-international. Sometimes the forces resisting you are not natural. So if you do natural steps, you won't get supernatural answers. Sometimes you need to go into a lot of us are very natural. We walk about what we see, what we smell, what we hear, but life is bigger than this. As we're here right now, yeah, there are angels here. Can you see them? No. But they're here. Yeah? It is bigger, it is stronger than what you believe. In Christianity, if you're not a Christian here today, you need to listen, you need to get born again before you go. Your life is spiritual. And sometimes there are things that are in some families that will want to perpetuate itself on you, and until you recognize who you are, it can continue. I spoke to a lady some time ago. She said, Funmi, everybody in my family marries late. She was 48. So I said to her, what are you doing about it? You can't let the enemy keep going on rampage and be looking. I said, what are you doing about it? Your sister was divorced. Your auntie was married at 50. And then the one who was married at 60. What are you doing? Are you going to let it continue? looking very serious. And I guess I'm going to talk about that, so I'm going to leave it to her. But I've seen in this little journey, God has really opened my eyes to see. Opened my eyes to see. I was talking to a lady. She said, I've got 4 nephews. 4. Boys, not girls. They're all single. The youngest was, I think, 43 years at that time. I don't mean with good jobs. Drove good cars, had their own homes. But nobody could satisfy them. They thought it was them that was saying, no, this one is not good enough. Oh, for me, no, this one is not good enough. It's not them. 4. Then I found out that an auntie was single. She never married, she's 68. Her sister was, I think at that time, 65 or so, never married. You can see the connection. If you go to a GP in this country, they will ask you, is there diabetes in your family? Yes. Yeah? Because they believe it can be transferred. In the spirit realm, just there are spiritual blessings. If you're not careful, as a Christian, you need to stake your claim and say, not here. I don't care if everybody is single. Me, I will marry. I'm a different lineage. I'm of the tribe where we are blessed. Yeah? So don't let anybody say there's ancestral curse, there's generational curse. There is a bigger one. His name is Jehovah. And you need to stake your claim to him. So that and put a stop to everything resisting you. Amen? Amen. Very quickly. As there are spiritual hindrances, there are natural hindrances. A lot of the men and the women have spoken here about natural hindrances, prescribing for God. When I met my husband, he was in Africa. I was working in a firm. My client then was an oil and gas firm, and 50% of their revenue was from Angola and Nigeria. Usually, when you work on a firm or you work for a client, you find out people that know stuff about that client or can help you. So I called my cousin in Africa and I said, look, I'm coming to Africa. I need a subsea engineer, because I need to, I'm working for a subsea company. He said, oh, I know a guy. He comes here once in a while to do PP. He also has his private practice. But he works for an oil company. And I think that's what he does. So he put me in touch with my husband. And guess what? God can meet you anywhere. Don't prescribe. Look, there are all women here. Some of you are thinking, there are no men here. The man doesn't have to come here. In my church, I was the only single person in leadership. Everybody was married. Am I not married now? Don't say he has to be in your church. God is. There's no. Did you meet your husband in church? No. Yeah. Don't come and I must meet him in my church. What if there are no men there? Does that mean he's not going to church? It is only a cult that will tell you to marry in the church when there are no men there. There are only 5 men in the church. The pastor, the keyboardist, his son. Where are you going to get the man from in that church? But don't. That's why I said, Dupsy, you preach really well. God bless you. Dupsy said, you need to cast your net to the right side. Don't keep you're so parochial. It has to be in church. My church. My church. It's a cult. Look, I told God, I said, look, I didn't even look at anybody in church. When I started praying, I was older than all of them. So I know the guy can't be in this church. I knew he had to be somewhere. But I asked God a favor. I said, when I meet my husband, let him like my pastor. And let him come and serve with me here. But I let it go. I wasn't so hung up about it. Let God lead you. When you were living in Birmingham, your husband was in Cardiff. One of the things you said, long distance. I said, oh, I never. I remember the first time my husband told me he wanted to marry me. I said, marry! If you are looking for visa, I don't have it. Because that's the first thing that crosses your mind. Isn't it? That everybody from Africa is looking for a visa. But how many of you know that Africans pay for their children in school here now? Their children don't take a loan. They go to uni. said it. Don't judge a book by its cover. When I met my husband, he didn't look like he had a time. There is no way on this God-given earth I would have married him. If the Holy Ghost had not told me that's your husband, there is no way. You know what my husband used to do? He used to drive a Mercedes Benz. He'll go park it a few miles away from the church and take the bus to the church. Because he said, for me, everybody that sees a person with a Mercedes Benz will want to marry them. So I wanted somebody that loved me for myself. So if you meet my husband, he will never tell you he was working in an oil and gas. You know, in Nigeria, when you're working in Shell and all those, they think you're a big boy. So he didn't tell anybody. Anybody that says, I have my practice. So my husband's an engineer, so he had a civil engineering practice. He said, I have my practice, you can come and meet me in the office. Nobody knew. You cannot judge. I remember when they told us, I don't know if I told my friends, Joe Dupsy and John, when they told us to pay the deposit for Sheraton, we got married in Nigeria, Sheraton, £16,000. Not now. That's nearly 10 years ago, that was a lot of money. When they said it was £16,000, how many people here know that £16,000 was a lot of money then? So I called him, I said, we need to pay a deposit tomorrow, and the deposit was just 2 million. 2 million then was about £8,000, isn't it? So he said, who do I need to pay it to? That was when I knew he had money. Don't judge a book by its cover. Do you understand what I mean? Don't think you know everything. I'm not going to read my usual psalm. I read from 1 Samuel 16. Don't judge a book by its cover. Stop having unrealistic expectations. It has to be for my village. It has to be for my... please. At your age, you need 3 things. Write it down if you're writing. He needs to be a Christian. He needs to be the opposite sex. And he needs to be single. 3 things you need. He needs to be a Christian, he needs to be the opposite sex, and needs to be single. He doesn't have to be a bishop. He doesn't have to be a worship leader. Just pray that God will give you a man after his heart. Put that on the top of your list. God, give me a man after your heart. A man. When I met my husband, he wasn't, that's why I said to some people, he wasn't like the way he was now. I remember the first time I told him that he said, oh, my car broke. I said, how can your car? Your car is a new car. How can your car break down? I said, do you tithe? He said, no, you can't give all that money to church. I said, oh. If you don't tithe, your life will be tight. Yes. Try it. If it doesn't work, don't do it after 2 months. I said, no, after 2 months, 8 weeks, don't do it again. Now, if my husband has £2, he will give 20p. He knows it now, it's in him. But it wasn't like that when I met him. I knew it was going to be very rare for me to meet anybody that knew as much as I knew. I've been to Bible school. I've been a Christian since I was 15. A bishop. So I knew. But I knew that I could marry somebody who had a heart for God, who loved God, and who would be passionate towards God. Look, you are not looking for a man with money. You are looking for a man with potential. Write that down. A lot of people are looking for money can fly, but if he has potential. Some of you are wedded to what you... I have my house. I have a house. I have a friend. She lives in North America. I told her, I said, look, there are men around. He said, look, I can't marry a man. My house. Dupsy, where were you living? If you see where my friend was living, in Canada, posh house, trendy, driveway, not like here, you know our houses here. She had everything in a posh area. Look, are you still living there now? She's happier now. You are wedded to unnecessary stuff. My house, my mortgage, my this, my that, and you are by yourself. Do you understand? It's not important. Don't put priority on what's not important. It's just money. I was talking to my friend. My friend is turning 54. I said, look, this guy likes you. Yes, but I think he's after my money. I said money. That you cannot. Money is a piece of paper that you put value on. He's after my money. He's after my money. She's still single. The guy has married somebody else. Do you understand what I mean? You need potential. Is this guy going somewhere? Does this guy have a vision? When I met my husband, he used to keep his money in the bank. Who keeps their money in the bank? I'm an accountant. I said, look, there's something they call time. It will erode the time value of money. It will erode the value. You need to invest it. You need to put it in something that has appreciated. He didn't know. So he kept his money in the bank. Do you understand what I mean? God will use you to bless somebody. Amen. But don't expect he has to. I introduced somebody to somebody the other day. I said, what does he look like? I said, what does he do? How old is he? How come? I said to her after a while, I said, look, don't worry. What makes you think the guy will like you? You understand? You have an exaggerated opinion of yourself. Yeah. I think it's Jonathan that said it. Most of all these people preaching it, we've been everywhere together. So sometimes some of what they say comes back. Jonathan said, he has not put a ring on your finger yet. He's just asking. Somebody's asking, I know somebody, let me give the person number. That's all. Just say thank you. Let the person phone you. Let the person. I remember when my husband used to phone me from Africa. The day when I knew he was serious was that this guy was. You know, it was really expensive to phone from Africa a decade ago. The guy would call in the morning, at least 20 minutes, in the evening, every day for 1 hour. So I told my mom, stop flashing me, please. You know Nigerians, they will call you and then they will tell you to call them back. I said, there's somebody who lives in that country that calls me 1 hour every day. I said, no, we can't compare ourselves to him. What am I trying to say? If somebody says, I want to introduce somebody to you, don't say no. I believe in spontaneous. Somebody said this to me, I said, spontaneous. Spontaneity. You have been watching too many movies. Too many movies. The probability that you will meet your husband through spontaneity at this age is 20%, 1/5. Somebody will know somebody that knows your husband. And will look at you and remember you. And say, oh, I know that person will fit Victoria. That person will fit this person. That's you. It's somebody that will remember you and say, yes, you need to talk to this person. So when they say that, don't say no. And don't start asking silly questions. Talk to the person first. You know, to check the person. And don't I don't know, one of the ladies, I think it was you, don't dismiss somebody because it doesn't add up. He doesn't look it. Or he doesn't drive it. Or he doesn't have it. Somebody said to me, he doesn't have a pension. I said, what makes you even think you're going to live to your pensionable age? You are not looking for a made man. You are looking for potential. There are practical things you need to do, especially when you're a bit older. You need to look good. Just practical. Smell good, look good. Somebody said, don't open everything. A man doesn't necessarily marry you because you sleep with him. Not necessarily. And a man doesn't necessarily marry you because he's in your cleavage. So dress well. Anyway, it could happen anytime. You are praying, so you know anytime now this thing can add together. So dress well, walk well, talk well. Do you understand? And don't disregard anybody. You know, that my auntie. You don't know that your auntie that you are dismissing may be the one that knows your husband. Yeah? Don't relent in your walk with God. God pays wages. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10 says God is not unrighteous. God pays wages. Big time. This is one. Tina. I heard, how many of you were here last time I met her husband? Yes. Tina is married to one of the finest cardiologists. Tina had only £5 when she bought her wedding dress. Am I lying? No. The guy paid for everything. Everything. When you work for God, I don't remember what Jerome said. When you work for God, He pays big wages. When I was before I got married, they used to call me the mother of the church. I was the first in, last out. They gave me the key to the church. Because I knew God's things had to be done well. Do you understand? So I did it well, knowing that He would do my own well. Somebody said to me, I'm not so okay. Well, in my pastor's house a few weekends ago, and said, we're not surprised that you married somebody like this. Why? Because they knew how God had to pay you. You're not wasting your time. Some people think, I've just been there every day, I'm wasting my time. Don't relate to your work. And don't wear your feeling on your sleeve. You know, sometimes when people are mature single, they can be touchy. Don't be touchy. Be smile. Let yours every day just be, just be full of joy. Have very good social skills. Some of you don't pick your phone now. So even if I want to call you and introduce somebody to you, I was just having a go at my friend. I said, you don't even pick your phone. Pick your phone when somebody calls you or return the call. Yeah? Hygiene. A deodorant is not ungodly. I was talking to somebody who was believing God to be married, and I nearly fell over. Not with the anointing, but with the smell. Dress well, smell well, M-O-B-O. Organize yourself. And if you've got grey hair, organize it. Do you understand? Yeah? Don't let. When I met my husband, he thought I was a lot younger than I looked. The day I told him how old I was shocked. That's why I remember this last December, we went to Africa, and somebody saw me and they were talking, and I was talking back, and they saw my husband and they knelt down. So I said, that's not. Oh, really? Sorry, ma. Because she knew that. Oh my goodness, she's a lot younger, looks much younger. Let people start guessing. Then say, in Africa, people like to look big and look older than their age, so that people can honor them. Honor doesn't come with looking older. Every man likes a woman who looks younger. So look younger. If you are working on your weight, or organize yourself, adjust everything. Yeah? Adjust that, man. Packaging. Package yourself. Package yourself so that when they see you, they will, I don't want to say a lot more. Have you put your questions down? Do you have questions? Yes?
Yeah. Go
on, man.
Do you think it was the fasting that changed everything, that changed the situation? Do you think the situation would have changed if you only prayed without the fasting?
I prayed before. I prayed for 40 years. Until I was 40, so I knew that this is like I said, it's a personal thing. My son is up there. I gave birth to him when I was 49 years old. And Dusi was saying, you remember that fair-skinned boy? Dusi's got son around. That's my son. When I was believing God to have that boy, because I'd done it before. So I told my husband, I said, look, we've done 3 days fast, 7 days fast, this, dry fast. I said, look, I know. I've been there. Let's go round. We must have done a 21-day fast 4 times. Because God is not your problem. So I knew something needed to shift. God told me, I don't have anything against the VIF, IVF, all the medicals. But the source of childlessness and barrenness is demonic. When you shift that, then your medical condition, your medicals will help. But it's not the source. The source is the giver of children are a heritage of the Lord. Yes. It's not the heritage of the doctor. Yeah? So sometimes you need to do, if you fasted 2 days, I can give you countless testimonies. Countless. We're moving home in 4 weeks. 4 or 5 weeks. When we first checked that area out, it was beyond our league. There is no way beyond. I mean, homes there are like £1 million. So we knew we needed something drastic don't you think?
Yes.
I went the same route now. And the house came out. There's a provision for you. There may be 500 women here. God sees us individually. He doesn't see us collective group. No. He knows your name. He knows your height. He knows the number of hair on your head, on your weave. He knows it. We are not a crowd before God. So he knows when you are speaking. If I go to a nursery to pick up my child and my child cries, I know his voice. When you cry to God, the Bible says God hears the cry of the righteous. When you cry to him, he hears you. But sometimes, to amplify your prayers, you need to fast. If you prayed for 5 weeks and nothing is showing up, put a 2 days fast. If nothing happened, put 3 days. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a meal, just food. Am I still size 0 now? Hands up. Kenny, don't say anything.
The word became flesh.
You know, I put on a bit more weight. It's just a temporary discomfort for